The massive Meridian Alliance vessel emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns. On the bridge, High Commander Venetrell studied the blue-green planet on her viewscreen with 6 golden eyes, her scaled skin shifting colors in subtle patterns that reflected her intrigue. "Remarkable," she murmured, mandibles clicking softly. "They've achieved lunar colonization and reached Mars without developing proper gravitic drives." She turned to her science officer. "Confirm our initial scans." "Verified, High Commander," the officer reported, tentacles dancing across holographic controls. "Their space vessels utilize chemical propulsion. Energy readings indicate primitive fission and fusion power sources. No signs of quantum manipulation technology or advanced weapon systems." Vena's skin rippled with azure patterns of satisfaction. Another species ready for uplift into the Alliance's embrace. Their preliminary observations over the past year had revealed a resourceful species, but one clearly in need of guidance to join galactic civilization properly. 300 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the alien vessel's arrival on quantum-encrypted displays. The Deep-Sea Research Facility, known only as Site Omega, hummed with activity as humanity's best scientists and military leaders gathered to monitor first contact. "They're right on schedule," Sarah noted, brushing a strand of gray-streaked black hair from her face. The bags under her eyes spoke of countless sleepless nights preparing for this moment. "And running exactly the scans we expected." Admiral James Rivera nodded beside her, his dark features illuminated by the blue glow of the displays. "Operation Looking Glass is working then. They're seeing what we want them to see." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "The quantum camouflage fields are performing perfectly. As far as their sensors can tell, we're exactly what they expect to find, a promising but technologically limited species." The room fell silent as the first transmission from the alien vessel reached Earth. The translation matrix they'd developed from intercepted Alliance communications over the past year rendered the message in crisp English. "People of Earth, we come in peace as representatives of the Meridian Alliance, a confederation of spacefaring civilizations. We offer friendship and guidance to emerging species such as yourselves." Sarah exchanged knowing looks with her colleagues as the message continued, filled with diplomatic pleasantries that barely masked its condescending tone. The Alliance's guidance was well documented, centuries of technological dependence disguised as mentorship, creating client states rather than equals. "Their assumptions are our greatest advantage," Admiral Rivera said quietly. "They see our chemical rockets and think us primitive. They detect our fission plants and dismiss us as barely spacefaring. Not once do they consider that a species might deliberately appear less advanced than they are." Sarah nodded, thinking of the quantum accelerator platforms hidden throughout the solar system, their very existence masked by fields that made them appear as simple communications satellites or debris. The pinnacle of human achievement, weapons that could launch projectiles at appreciable percentages of light speed with zero electromagnetic signature, their power drawn from the quantum foam of space itself. The next few weeks unfolded according to plan. The Alliance delegation arrived with great ceremony, their advanced shuttles landing at a specially constructed facility in Geneva. Sarah watched from the audience as UN Secretary General Martinez welcomed High Commander Trell, playing the role of an awestruck planetary leader perfectly. "Your vessels are truly magnificent," Martinez said, genuine wonder in his voice as he gestured to the crystalline shuttle. "We hope to learn much from the Meridian Alliance." Trell's skin shifted to patterns of benevolent indulgence. "Of course. Your species shows great promise. With proper guidance, you may achieve gravitic flight within mere centuries rather than the usual millennia of development." Sarah bit back a smile. Humanity had cracked gravitics 30 years ago. The quantum accelerators were just the beginning, but letting the Alliance discover that now would be premature. Later that evening, in a secure conference room deep beneath Geneva, Sarah briefed the UN Security Council on the latest developments. The Alliance is proceeding exactly as predicted, she reported. Their cultural database, shared as a gift to help us understand galactic society, confirms everything we learned from our covered observations. They honestly believe their technology represents the peak of possible achievement. More importantly, they've never encountered a species that developed along our technological path. Explain that last part again, the Chinese representative requested. Why does our development path matter? Sarah brought up a hologram showing technological progression trees. Most species follow a similar pattern. Chemical rockets to ion drives to gravitic propulsion. Directed energy weapons, then plasma weapons, then quantum disruption beams. But humanity, we went quantum first. While they were perfecting energy beams, we learned to manipulate the fabric of space itself. And they can't detect what they don't know to look for, Admiral Rivera added. Their sensors are built to detect energy weapons and gravitic distortions. Our quantum tech operates on principles they haven't discovered yet. The Russian representative leaned forward. How long can we maintain this deception? And more importantly, should we? They offer friendship and knowledge freely. Knowledge with strings attached, Sarah countered. Study their history. Every species they've uplifted becomes dependent on Alliance technology. Their friendship comes with submission. We need time. Time to understand their technology, while keeping ours secret. Time to ensure humanity enters galactic society as equals, not servants. The council members nodded soberly. They'd all read the classified reports, seen the evidence of how the Alliance subtly dominated its junior members. As the meeting concluded, Sarah gazed out a window at the crystalline Alliance shuttle gleaming in the evening sun. Soon enough, humanity would reveal its true capabilities. But for now, they would watch and learn and prepare. Let the Alliance think they'd found another primitive species to guide. The truth would come as quite a shock. In her quarters aboard the Alliance vessel, High Commander Trell composed her initial report to the Alliance Council. Species shows acceptable development pace for their technological level. Recommend standard uplift protocols. Estimated time to achieve Level 2 civilization status. 300 standard cycles. Note: humans display unusual focus on kinetic weapons development. Recommend early introduction to energy weapon technology to correct this cultural deviation. If she could have understood the quantum encrypted transmission being sent from Site Omega at that very moment, she might have written something very different. Phase 1 proceeding as planned. Alliance technological database exceeding expectations. Quantum accelerator platform network at 93% completion. Estimated time until humanity can reveal true capabilities. 6 months. The galaxy is about to change forever. 2 months into the Alliance's technological guidance program, Dr. Sarah Chen stood in a hardened observation bunker on Mars, watching Alliance engineers install their latest gift, a modern plasma defense system for the colony. The irony wasn't lost on her. 30 meters beneath their feet, hidden by quantum fields, sat a battery of human quantum accelerators that could reduce an Alliance capital ship to atoms in microseconds. They're very proud of that plasma array, Admiral Rivera commented beside her, his breath fogging the reinforced window. Reminds me of my grandfather showing me how to use a flip phone when I was a kid. Keep that amusement in check, James, Sarah warned, though her eyes sparkled. We need their confidence, especially with the Crimson Armada getting bolder. The pirate attacks had started 3 weeks ago. Small raids at first, targeting isolated research outposts in the asteroid belt. The Alliance expressed sympathetic concern, offering to eventually upgrade Earth's defenses once humanity proved ready for such technology. Sarah's quantum pad chirped with an encrypted alert. She pulled it from her pocket, careful to keep the seemingly primitive device angled away from the Alliance engineers. The display showed a priority message from Fleet Command. 3 unidentified vessels had just appeared at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, bearing signatures matching known Crimson Armada ships. Right on schedule, she murmured. The pirates' growing aggression wasn't entirely natural. Careful disinformation leaked through criminal networks had painted Earth as a defenseless target, ripe for plunder. Now they were about to learn just how wrong that assessment was. High Commander Trell's crystalline shuttle descended through the Martian atmosphere, its hull shimmering with energy shields that the humans were supposed to find impressive. Sarah and Rivera met her in the colony's reception dome. "The defense installation proceeds well," Trell announced, her scales showing patterns of satisfaction. "Though I must express concern about these pirate incursions. Perhaps if you'd allow us to station an Alliance patrol group in your system." "We wouldn't want to impose," Sarah replied carefully. "Your people are already doing so much to help us develop." Trell's skin rippled with what the humans had learned to recognize as patronizing amusement. "Your pride does you credit, Dr. Chen, but there's no shame in accepting protection from those more advanced. The Crimson Armada employs technology far beyond your current capabilities." A junior officer rushed into the dome, interrupting them. "High Commander, 3 Armada vessels just dropped out of hyperspace near the colony shipping lanes." Sarah watched Trell's scales shift to alarm patterns. The Alliance commander turned to her. "Dr. Chen, I suggest you order your ships to stand down. The Armada's weapons would tear through your chemical drives before." The rest of her sentence was lost as alarms blared throughout the colony. Sarah's quantum pad vibrated. "Fleet Command implementing Operation Revelation right on schedule." "We appreciate your concern, High Commander," Sarah said calmly, "but I believe we should all adjourn to the observation center. You'll want to see this." The colony's command center was a hive of activity when they arrived. Alliance observers watched with poorly concealed pity as human operators coordinated with the primitive defense forces. On the main display, 3 Armada vessels approached the colony, their energy shields glowing with arrogant confidence. "Message from the Armada ships," a communications officer reported. "They're demanding we surrender all technological data provided by the Alliance, along with our mineral stockpiles." Trell stepped forward. "Allow me to contact our nearest patrol group. They can be here in 6 hours tow." "That won't be necessary," Admiral Rivera interrupted politely. "Commander Hayes, you may proceed with the defense." Sarah watched Trell's confusion turn to horror as quantum signatures suddenly bloomed across her sensor displays. Signatures her instruments couldn't properly interpret. Throughout the solar system, hundreds of seemingly innocent satellites and debris clusters shed their camouflage fields, revealing their true nature. By the first light, Trell breathed, her scales pale with shock. "What are those?" "Quantum accelerator platforms," Sarah explained, unable to completely hide her pride. "An application of physics your scientists haven't quite discovered yet. Perhaps we can arrange some technological guidance." On the display, the Armada ships detected the power spikes too late. 3 simultaneous shots from widely separated platforms intersected at relativistic speeds. The pirates had no time to react. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons and conventional kinetics, might as well have been tissue paper against projectiles moving at an appreciable percentage of light speed. Where 3 mighty pirate vessels had been, expanding clouds of plasma now drifted between the stars. The entire engagement had lasted less than 2 seconds. The command center was utterly silent. Sarah glanced at Trell, whose scales were cycling through color patterns so quickly they became a blur. The Alliance commander turned to her, all 6 eyes wide. "How?" Trell's mandibles worked soundlessly for a moment. "How long have you had this capability?" "Long enough," Rivera answered. "We've been watching the Alliance for quite some time, High Commander. Your civilization's achievements are impressive, but you stopped looking for new principles once you mastered gravitic technology. Humanity took a different path." Sarah stepped closer to the stunned commander. "We appreciate the Alliance's offered guidance, but I believe it's time to renegotiate the terms of our relationship. As equals." Trell's scales finally settled into a pattern Sarah had never seen before, one that the xenologists would later classify as existential recalculation. "The Council must be informed immediately," Trell said, her voice barely a whisper. "This changes everything. The theoretical implications alone. We're prepared to share our quantum acceleration technology, Sarah offered, along with several other developments we've kept in reserve. But we'll do so as full members of the galactic community, not as subordinates to be uplifted. As if to emphasize her point, the quantum platforms throughout the solar system vanished again, their camouflage fields rendering them invisible to Alliance sensors. Trull watched them disappear with an expression that mixed fear and fascination. "How many other secrets are you hiding, Dr. Chen?" Sarah smiled. "That, High Commander, depends entirely on how our next few conversations go. Now, shall we discuss what true technological exchange between equals might look like?" In her quarters that night, Sarah composed a message to the UN Security Council. Phase 2 complete. Alliance preconceptions shattered. Quantum technology demonstration exceeded expectations. Recommend proceeding to Phase 3. Full technological revelation and negotiation of equal status membership in the galactic community. Note: High Commander Trull's reaction suggests the Alliance's scientific community will be particularly interested in cooperation once they realize how many new principles of physics they've missed. The weight of silence had been heavy, but necessary. Now it was time for humanity to show the galaxy what they could really do. The Alliance Council chamber on Meridian Prime fell into chaos as High Commander Trull's report played out on the massive holographic displays. Counselors from 17 different species argued in a cacophony of translated voices, their agitation evident regardless of their biology. "Impossible," thundered Counselor Xan, his crystalline form vibrating with indignation. "No pre-contact species could develop such technology independently." "The evidence is undeniable," Trull responded, her scales now a steady pattern of grave concern. "The humans have mastered principles of quantum manipulation that our scientists theorized but never pursued. Their demonstration against the Crimson Armada was a trick," San interrupted, "staged to fool us in tow." The chamber's doors hissed open, admitting a delegation of Alliance military scientists. Their leader, Chief Researcher Varen, moved to the center of the chamber, his tentacles clutching a data crystal. "We've completed our analysis of the sensor data from the Mars incident," Varen announced. "The humans' quantum accelerator technology is real. More concerning, it represents an entirely new approach to physics that we never considered viable." In the observation gallery, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the proceedings with carefully hidden amusement. The Alliance had insisted on hosting these negotiations on their capital world, likely hoping to intimidate Earth's representatives with their technological superiority. The effect was somewhat undermined by the quantum transport that had brought the human delegation here, another impossible technology that had the Alliance scientists buzzing with barely contained excitement. Her quantum pad vibrated with an urgent message. Sarah's amusement vanished as she read the encrypted text from Admiral Rivera. "Crimson Armada fleet detected approaching Luna colony. Largest concentration of hostile forces recorded. Estimated 60+ vessels." A second message followed. "Alliance intelligence confirms. This is their entire fleet. They're committing everything to what they think is a soft target." Sarah stood, drawing the attention of the council. "Honored members, I apologize for the interruption, but I just received word that the Crimson Armada is mounting a major offensive against our lunar colony." The chamber erupted again. The Armada had been a thorn in the Alliance's side for decades, but they'd never dared mass their entire fleet for a single attack. "This is troubling news," Council Leader Mira said, her luminescent form pulsing with concern. "The nearest Alliance battle group is 3 days away at maximum speed. Your colony will be perfectly fine," Sarah interrupted smoothly. "However, I invite the Council to observe our response. It should prove educational." She gestured, and a massive holographic display materialized in the chamber's center, a real-time quantum feed from Luna colony. The Armada fleet was clearly visible, their ships arranged in an attack formation that had broken countless worlds. "Magnificent, aren't they?" A new voice rang out. The chamber's doors opened again, admitting a towering figure in black armor. The Armada's supreme commander, Tyrus Vale, strode and flanked by armed warriors. While you've been playing politics, my forces have already begun their assault. Luna Colony will fall before anyone can respond. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Supreme Commander Vale, we wondered if you'd make a personal appearance. Your reputation for theatrical timing precedes you. Vale's cybernetic eye weared as he focused on her. Dr. Chen, your species' defiance is admirable but futile. My fleet will demonstrate what real power looks like. On that point, Sarah smiled. We agree completely. On the display, Luna Colony's defenses activated. Not the token resistance the pirates expected, but over 300 quantum platforms dropping their camouflage fields in perfect synchronization. The Armada fleet, committed to their attack run, had no time to alter course. The chamber watched in stunned silence as humanity's defense grid opened fire. There was no dramatic light show, no explosive energy beams, just the silent, elegant physics of relativistic kinetics. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for decades simply ceased to exist, converted to expanding clouds of plasma by projectiles they never saw coming. Vale's organic eye widened in horror as his fleet vanished in seconds. Sarah turned to him, her voice carrying clearly in the shocked silence. Supreme Commander, in the spirit of scientific exchange, would you like to know your fleet's exact time to total destruction? Our quantum sensors measured it quite precisely, 1.47 seconds. Vale's warriors raised their weapons, but froze as quantum signatures appeared throughout the chamber. The Alliance's sophisticated security sensors hadn't detected the platforms Sarah's team had quietly deployed during their arrival. Now then, Sarah continued pleasantly, shall we discuss the terms of your surrender? I believe the Alliance has quite a few outstanding warrants for your arrest. Hours later, after Vale and his surviving command staff had been taken into custody, Sarah met privately with Council Leader Mira in her meditation chamber. You could have revealed your capabilities at any time, Mira observed, her glow pulsing thoughtfully. Why maintain the deception for so long? Humanity needed to understand the galaxy first, Sarah explained. Your civilization's achievements are remarkable, but your assumptions about technological development became limitations. You stopped looking for alternatives once you found solutions that worked. And now? Mira asked. What role does humanity see for itself in the Alliance? Sarah gazed out at the glittering capital city. We want to be partners, not subordinates. Your scientists already have thousands of questions about quantum manipulation. Our physicists are equally eager to study your gravitic technology. Imagine what we could achieve by working together as equals. The Council will need time to adjust to this new reality, Mira warned. Some members will resist changing centuries of tradition. They'll adapt, Sarah said confidently. They have to. The galaxy is larger than we thought, and there are threats out there that neither of us could face alone. The Crimson Armada was just the beginning. Her quantum pad chimed again. Another message from Admiral Rivera. Long-range quantum sensors detecting unusual activity beyond Alliance space. Multiple signatures unlike anything in our database. Recommend accelerating Phase 4 of the plan. Sarah smiled. The Alliance was about to discover just how valuable an equal partnership with humanity could be. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the newly established Quantum Physics Institute on Meridian Prime, watching Alliance scientists examine human technology with an enthusiasm that bordered on reverence. 3 months had passed since the destruction of the Crimson Armada, and the galaxy was still adjusting to the new balance of power. Remarkable, Chief Researcher Varin muttered, his tentacles weaving complex patterns as he studied a quantum accelerator's core. The theoretical framework alone will revolutionize our understanding of spatial mechanics. Just as your gravitic principles are transforming our approach to space travel, Sarah replied diplomatically. The exchange of technology had begun cautiously, but was accelerating as trust grew between the species. Already, hybrid designs incorporating both quantum and gravitic technologies were showing incredible promise. Her quantum pad vibrated. Another priority alert from Admiral Rivera. The unusual signatures they detected beyond Alliance space were growing stronger, and now even Alliance long-range sensors were picking up disturbing readings. Dr. Chen, Varen's voice pulled her attention back to the lab. We're detecting some sort of quantum resonance from these coordinates. He projected a star map showing a region of space well beyond the Alliance's borders. It's similar to your technology, but different. More primitive, yet somehow more powerful. Sarah's blood ran cold. The coordinates matched exactly with the anomalous readings they'd been tracking. How long have you been detecting these signals? They've been appearing sporadically for decades, Varen admitted. We lacked the theoretical framework to understand them until now. With your quantum principles as a baseline. The lab's doors hissed open, admitting High Commander Trell. Her scales showed patterns of deep concern. Dr. Chen, the Council requests your immediate presence. There's been an incident. The Council chamber was darker than usual, its massive displays showing real-time footage from the edge of Alliance space. Sarah felt her chest tighten as she recognized the familiar quantum signatures, but twisted, warped in ways that shouldn't be possible. The lab's doors hissed open, admitting High Commander Trell. Her scales showed patterns of deep concern. Dr. Chen, the Council requests your immediate presence. There's been an incident. The Council chamber was darker than usual, its massive displays showing real-time footage from the edge of Alliance space. Sarah felt her chest tighten as she recognized the familiar quantum signatures, but twisted, warped in ways that shouldn't be possible. 6 hours ago, Council leader Mira began, her luminescence dimmed with worry. An unknown force attacked and destroyed one of our frontier outposts. The few survivors described weapons similar to your quantum technology, but crude. Sarah finished, studying the sensor data, unrefined. Like someone discovered the basic principles but developed them in a completely different direction. She turned to Admiral Rivera, who had joined them via quantum projection, like the difference between a fusion bomb and a fusion reactor. Precisely, Rivera's hologram nodded. They're using quantum manipulation for pure destruction, without finesse or control. And the power readings are off the charts. The chamber's displays shifted, showing new sensor data. Massive objects were moving through deep space, their quantum signatures distorting the very fabric of reality around them. We've identified the source, Trell reported, her scales now a pattern that sinologists had classified as existential dread. They call themselves the quantum ascendancy. They've been isolated in a region of space with unusual physical properties, developing their technology in parallel to both our civilizations. And now they've decided to expand. Mira added grimly. Our analysts estimate they could reach Alliance space within 3 months. Earth would be directly in their path. Sarah studied the sensor readings, her mind racing. The Ascendancy's quantum weapons were crude but devastating. Brute force approaches that sacrificed precision for raw power. Against conventional Alliance defenses, they would be unstoppable. We need to combine our technologies, she announced. Not just exchange them. Truly integrate them. Human precision quantum manipulation with Alliance gravitic control. She turned to Varen. Those hybrid projects we've been working on, how quickly can we scale them up? The chief researcher's tentacles writhed in calculation. With full cooperation between our scientific teams and unrestricted access to both technological bases, perhaps 2 months. Then we have no choice, Mira declared. The Alliance hereby formally requests Earth's full technological and military cooperation in meeting this threat, as absolute equals. Sarah allowed herself a small smile despite the gravity of the situation. This was what humanity had been preparing for, not domination or submission, but true partnership born of necessity and mutual respect. Earth accepts, she said firmly. Admiral Rivera, implement Protocol Omega. Full technological integration with Alliance forces is now authorized. The next weeks were a blur of activity. Throughout Alliance space, shipyards began producing hybrid vessels incorporating both civilizations' technologies. Quantum accelerators were enhanced with gravitic focusing systems, while Alliance energy weapons were reimagined using quantum principles. Sarah worked alongside Varin and his team, pushing the boundaries of both sciences. The Ascendancy's crude but powerful approach to quantum manipulation had revealed possibilities neither civilization had considered. Their threat had inadvertently sparked a technological revolution. "They're accelerating," Rivera reported during one late-night strategy session. The holographic display showed the Ascendancy fleet's progress. "New estimate puts them at our borders in 6 weeks. The first hybrid defense platforms will be operational in 4, Sarah responded, studying the latest test results. "The real question is whether they'll be enough. The Ascendancy's weapons are exponentially more powerful than anything we've developed." "Power isn't everything," Trell interjected, her scales showing a new pattern, one of determined resolve. "Their approach lacks sophistication. They never learned to finesse quantum fields the way your civilization did, never combined it with our gravitic understanding. They're betting everything on brute force. And that will be their downfall," Varin added, his tentacles moving excitedly as he projected new simulation data. "Look at these results from the latest hybrid tests. By combining quantum acceleration with gravitic focusing, we can achieve precision they never imagined possible." Sarah watched the simulation play out, hope rising in her chest. The Ascendancy was powerful, yes, but they were about to learn that true strength came from cooperation, not isolation. Humanity and the Alliance, each incomplete on their own, were becoming something greater together. Her quantum pad chimed with a message from the hybrid shipyards. "First wave of combined fleet vessels ready for trials. Awaiting your arrival for final systems verification." Sarah looked around at her unlikely colleagues, human and alien alike, all working together toward a common goal. "Well then," she said, allowing herself a confident smile, "let's go show the galaxy what real quantum manipulation looks like." The combined human Alliance fleet hung in high orbit around Alpha Centauri, a gleaming array of hybrid vessels that represented the peak of both civilizations' achievements. From the bridge of the flagship Convergence, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the quantum sensor readings with growing tension. The Ascendancy fleet would arrive within hours. "Final systems check complete," Admiral Rivera reported from his command station. The bridge crew, a mix of humans and various Alliance species, worked with practiced efficiency. 3 months of joint operations had forged them into a seamless unit. All hybrid weapons platforms showing green. "The Ascendancy fleet has dropped out of quantum space," announced Trell, her scales showing a complex pattern of anticipation and resolve. 512 vessels. Power signatures are unprecedented. The enemy ships were massive dark shapes that seemed to devour light itself. Their quantum signatures were crude but overwhelming, distorting space-time through sheer brute force. A single shot from their main weapons could tear a conventional Alliance dreadnought apart. "They're transmitting," the communications officer reported. A harsh voice filled the bridge, translated into multiple languages simultaneously. "Primitive species," the Ascendancy commander's tone dripped with contempt. "Your attempt to combine your inferior technologies is noted but futile. Surrender now and submit to quantum ascension, or be eliminated." Sarah exchanged glances with Rivera and Trell. This was the moment they'd prepared for. "Signal the fleet," she ordered. "Execute Protocol Unity." Throughout the system, hundreds of hybrid platforms shed their quantum camouflage fields. Each one represented a perfect fusion of human precision and Alliance power, guided by the combined scientific understanding of both civilizations. "Interesting." The Ascendancy commander's voice showed the first hint of uncertainty. "Your quantum signatures are unusual." "No matter. Witness true power." The leading Ascendancy vessel fired, its crude quantum weapon tearing a hole in reality itself. But the combined fleet was ready. A dozen hybrid platforms fired in perfect synchronization, their quantum gravitic fields interacting in ways the Ascendancy had never imagined possible. The enemy's massive energy blast curved, caught in a precisely engineered gravity web, then collapsed in on itself as the quantum fields realigned. The Ascendancy Commander's next transmission contained something new. Fear. Impossible. How did you? Science isn't about raw power, Sarah transmitted back. It's about understanding. Something you might have learned if you hadn't isolated yourselves in your quest for dominance. She nodded to Rivera. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. The combined fleet moved as one, their hybrid drives allowing maneuvers that defied conventional physics. Quantum accelerators enhanced by gravitic focusing systems fired with surgical precision, while Alliance energy weapons guided by quantum fields struck with unprecedented accuracy. The Ascendancy fleet's massive weapons were devastating but slow, designed for overwhelming force rather than tactical flexibility. Against the integrated human Alliance technology, they were like sledgehammers trying to swat flies. Flies armed with particle beams and relativistic projectiles. Their fleet formation is breaking, Trell reported, her scales showing fierce satisfaction. They've never encountered coordinated resistance like this. Their tactical doctrine assumes raw power always prevails, a rather limited perspective. Sarah noted as another Ascendancy dreadnought disappeared in a quantum gravitic implosion, much like the Alliance's old assumptions about technological development paths. A lesson we won't forget, Rivera added, directing another precisely coordinated strike. There's always more to learn, always new ways to approach old problems. The battle lasted less than an hour. The Ascendancy's mighty fleet, terror of the unknown regions, broke against the combined might of two civilizations that had learned to work as one. Their surviving vessels fled back into deep space, leaving behind a clear message. Cooperation trumped isolation, precision overcame brute force, and understanding was the greatest power of all. In the aftermath, as recovery ships from both civilizations worked together to contain the quantum distortions left by the battle, Sarah stood in the Convergence's observation dome, with Council Leader Mira and Admiral Rivera. The Alliance Council has unanimously voted to establish a permanent joint scientific division, Mira announced, her luminescence bright with optimism. Co-led by both our peoples, dedicated to exploring new approaches to physics and technology. Dr. Chen, we'd like you to head the human contingent. Sarah smiled, watching Alliance and human crews working seamlessly together on cleanup operations. I'd be honored. Though I think we should extend membership to other species as well. The galaxy's too vast for any one civilization to have all the answers. Agreed. Rivera nodded. We've already received requests from 12 Alliance member species to participate in the hybrid technology program. Even some of the more traditionally minded council members are recognizing the benefits of diversity in scientific approach. And the Ascendancy? Mira asked. Our long-range quantum sensors show them retreating to their territory, Sarah reported. But they'll be back eventually. Hopefully next time as partners rather than conquerors. After all, she gestured to the hybrid ships surrounding them. We've proved what's possible when different civilizations work together. A junior officer approached with a quantum pad. Dr. Chen, we're detecting unusual energy patterns from the galactic core. The signatures don't match anything in either human or Alliance databases. Sarah exchanged looks with her colleagues, seeing her own excitement reflected in their expressions. Another mystery, another chance for their civilizations to learn and grow together. Well then, she said, already anticipating the possibilities, let's see what else the universe has to teach us. Later that night, in her quarters aboard the Convergence, Sarah composed her final report on Operation Unity. The integration of human and Alliance technologies has exceeded all projections. More importantly, the cultural exchange has transformed both our civilizations. We've learned that true strength lies not in technological superiority or military might, but in the willingness to learn from each other. The galaxy is vast, and we are stronger together than we ever were apart. This isn't just a new chapter for humanity or the Alliance. It's a new dawn for all spacefaring civilizations. As she finished writing, Sarah looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, new challenges waited. But now they would face them not as separate species, not as mentors and students, but as equal partners in the greatest scientific endeavor in galactic history. The silent edge of human ingenuity had served its purpose, bringing them to the table as equals. Now it was time for something even more powerful: open collaboration between civilizations, each contributing their unique perspectives to forge a future greater than any could achieve.